Welcome to Education Today. I am Madison Kunst from Kittanning High School in the Armstrong School District. On today's show, we are going to learn more about the founding of Kittanning, Pennsylvania. Now let's take a look at kittanningonline.com.
Hi, I'm Erica Petrus, here with Education Today. I'm going to show you kittanningonline.com. By clicking on kittanningonline.com, it'll bring you up to this hyperlink page. Then you scroll down, and there are many articles you can click on. By clicking on an article, it'll bring up another article. This article has so much information about it. Then you can scroll down and just leave a comment. Here, we're going to leave a comment. Erica Petrus, email ericapetrus@gmail.com. Website kittanningonline.com. Comment. Hello world. Post comment. We are done with leaving the comment. Now I'm just going to scroll up to the top of the page. Go to About and show you the co-founders. First one is Christopher D. Anthony. He's such a nice gentleman. Then you go down, and he's our future guest, Pete Harmon. He is a lovely gentleman. So, again, all you have to do to get up the webpage is click your search bar, type in kittanningonline.com, hit search, and just click the link. Now back to the show.
Welcome to the show. We are now joined by an aficionado in the founding of our quaint little town. Could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, Pete Harmon, and I'm a longtime resident of Kittanning, and family has lived here for several generations.
Can you tell me about Kittanning prior to the Battle of Kittanning?
Kittanning at that time was an Indian settlement, and being close proximity to the water and so forth and the fertile ground, it was real ideal conditions for the Indians to settle here.
Why was the Battle of Kittanning fought, and what was the outcome?
Some of the reasons it was fought was that the settlers at that time were moving further west from the east, and at that time the Indians were raiding a lot of the camps and forts and so forth as they were coming this way, and at times they were taking prisoners of the early settlers. So at the time there was a bunch of conflicts as we moved towards this area, towards Kittanning, and then of course a battle ensued for who was going to live here, I guess.
Okay, what was the historical significance of this battle?
Really to help us to further move not only west, but control the Allegheny River, so there would be more to move north and south, and eventually to move down to the Ohio River and to the Mississippi. So as the settlements kept pushing west.
When did Kittanning become a town after the battle?
In about 1803, the town of Kittanning was laid out. This was property of Colonel John Armstrong, who was the leader of the battle of the Kittanning village during 1756. So the town started to develop, more people started coming, and by the laying out the lots in the town, the settlement then began to grow.
What was the main industry in Kittanning early in its history?
Most of it was the river transportation of iron ore from this area, because the Allegheny River would flow to Pittsburgh, of course, and a lot of the materials were taken to that area, so we had a lot of resources for the materials that they could use at the time.
Okay. Was its location on the Allegheny River or proximity to Pittsburgh helpful in its development?
very helpful. Because of the mode of transportation mostly was the river boats, the steamboats, and that was even before the trains came in. And then once the trains came in, they did follow the corridor of the river. So Pittsburgh was our main market for goods and stuff that we could transport.
When was Armstrong County formed? Was Kittanning always the county seat?
Yes, in 1821, Kittanning was actually incorporated officially. It always had been the county seat, but in the early 1900s, I've read some documentation as Ford City really began to grow and maybe almost outgrow Kittanning. There were some suggestions of moving the county seat to Ford City, but that never developed.
Okay. Can you provide some insight on Kittanning's history up to the Civil War?
Yeah, mostly people started farming around the area because that was a big cultural thing to supply the markets. So then with the short terms of transportation, large farms started developing the area, and Kittanning was the main marketplace for Armstrong County because of the modes of transportation.
Thank you for joining us today. We are going to take a short break, and when we return, we're going to tell you a little more about Kittanning. Stick around for more education today.
Success. We see it every day. Hundreds of majors and programs, bachelor's degrees to PhDs, small classes, internationally known faculty who are committed to your success. Real-world experiences to guide you on your career and life path. An alumni network 120,000 strong. I'm IUP President Mike Driscoll. Visit us. Find your success at Indiana University of Pennsylvania.
All your professors, all of them, they know that all it takes is one dreamer with passion, one person, and they hope in each of you that you might be that one who makes a longer-lasting light bulb, who writes music for the ages, who reaches into the mind and discovers a new star, and who can change the world of a fifth grader. We're gathered here to hope in you.
It's hard to explain. It just became home. There are hundreds of majors and programs, bachelor's degrees to PhDs, small classes and faculty that really get to know you. Amazing internships and everywhere, programs that help to find a job that is right for you. It's what IUP is about, a commitment to your success. See it for yourself. Visit us, Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Find your success.
The brain is a remarkable organ. It's almost infinite in its capacity. Its ability to reach its full potential is limited by only one thing: the heart. For if the heart isn't fully engaged in what you're doing, if you have no drive, no passion, the brain will simply go through the motions. Find your success at Indiana University of Pennsylvania.
Okay, we're back with Armstrong School District's Education Today. In this half of the show, we're going to discuss more about our hometown of Kittanning. Did Kittanning or any of its residents have any historical impact during the Civil War?
One of the significant things, not so much individual person-wise, but Kittanning was significant that they had a place called Camp Orr that was in the northern part of Kittanning, up where we would know today as being the YMCA. That was really a gathering point for the training of the troops and the recruits from all different areas. And one of the significant things is at that time that trains were coming into usage, and people that would join the Civil War and come to Kittanning would be the first time that they would ever see a train. So during that time, we worked to provide a lot of the troops for the training for the Civil War. So more of a collective effort than an individual effort.
What was Kittanning like at the turn of the century?
The turn of the century was really the boom time for Kittanning when we're talking 1900 to 1910. Most of the large buildings that you see in downtown Katanning, that was the time period that they were being built, and a lot of them are still standing today. Industry the coal industry was really strong then. We had several brickyards in the area, and so on top of that we'd have the clay mine operations. So it was really the most significant growth time in Katanning's history.
What was Katanning's main industry, and is there anything of interest during this time?
As we talked about the industry, still coal, because we had to feed the steel mills in Pittsburgh. Then steel was king in this whole country, and we had a rich supply of the resources of coal. So that was one of the main occupations of job. There was a lot of little towns that came and gone, just like we hear about the old gold mine rush towns, that they were there and gone, and a lot of that happened with coal too. So that played a very important part in the country and so forth to help industrialize it.
Okay. How was Katanning during the Great Depression?
I think that Katanning, from what I've gathered, had survived pretty well, and it based that a lot upon the stores that were there previous to the Depression had still remained after the Depression. I'm sure that some of the smaller stores or businesses may not have survived, but the overall impact didn't seem as significant as it was in other places in the country at that time, because we still had some of the resources to provide the needs for the factories in the Pittsburgh area. So work was still somewhat plentiful.
From the time between World War II and the late 50s, how did Katanning change?
A lot of the significant changes in Katanning at that time were transportation-wise. Most of the new highways were being built, so it increased us to move our goods and services to other areas a lot easier. Then we were still pretty industrial, so to be able to do that was really a great economic thing for Katanning. The stores changed, and it was a time when people would come downtown to shop. On Saturdays, the streets would be filled with people, and it's hard to comprehend for the younger generation, but the way that I stated to them is the way Katanning is with the folk festival and with all the people, and people are like, wow, there's a lot of people here. That's the way the weekends were every weekend in Katanning. So then it was really a big a boom there with just people had jobs and so forth, and they did a lot of shopping in.
Katanning always had a very busy downtown. Why do you think it has changed so much since then?
Well, I think the first significant thing that happened is they built a Jamesway out of town, which almost became like a mall-type store. And as parking was always an issue in busy downtown, and then when people started developing malls and free parking, and that people could get everything in one store, that was a significant impact on the local stores, where you had to go from store to store to store to get all your needs. And when they were able to offer everything in one store, that really made it a hard competitive thing. And then even to modern times where online shopping has become more convenient for people, that nowadays they don't even have to leave their house to get their goods and needs. So a combination of those factors has really affected towns across America for downtown shopping.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you would like to tell me about the history of Katanning?
One of the things about Katanning is the layout of the town has really not changed in 200 years. So there's a lot of historical significance that people can actually see today that would have been a long time ago, and to come and view some of the things, just like the courthouse is a fixture in our town, and it's just different buildings like that. You can really come to Katanning and kind of feel a sense of how it might have been during that time. So it's still a nice place to visit.
What is your opinion on the new school merging Katanning and Fort City together?
I think it's a good thing. at the time when I was growing up, we actually had community schools where it was right in your neighborhood and you walk. At the time, the population was growing so much you almost didn't have enough schools. So with the declining populations and maybe not able to fill the buildings like we used to, that the combination of one and putting them together really makes sense, instead of putting money into schools that may only at some point be half filled. So I think it'd be a good thing for the community overall.
Okay. So you have a website, KatanningOnline.com. What is that website?
That website, I spend a lot of time with local history that people can look at and we can engage in and we can talk about and have dialogue that we can people can see the significant impact of some of the history things that we had. So it's kind of a social media type program, where in the old days you might put stuff in print and then only reach so many people. But being an online website, we're able to reach a lot more people, and in turn they might be some of the family members that were some of the historical people in Katanning, and actually get some feedback, and it just keeps generating some new stories to share with the public.
Okay. Why did you decide to make an online account about that?
I started gathering a lot of information, and I would spend a lot of time with some older people within the community, and I felt that I wanted to share their stories with more people, and to get it out there so it could have the public forum could enjoy it.
What do you hope that people will gain from going onto your website?
We put a lot of pictures up there, and in turn people still have a lot of pictures from their families that now I can reach people and show them a picture in California instead of just people in Katanning where I'd have to physically visit. So in that turn, we receive a lot of other information and pictures and just more family histories from people that were here generations ago than just now.
How long did it take you to set up this website and gather all of this information?
I had a partner in helping me setting up the website. It wasn't too hard after we decided what content that we wanted to use and how we were going to structure it. It was a pretty simple operation.
Okay. Well, that's our show for today. I would like to thank our guest conductors for being on the show. Big thanks also to the film crew. Today we had Katanning High School students led by their teacher, Mr. Don Swanson. Way to go, guys. Please join us again next week for another look at the Armstrong School District. For updated news and information, the district, please visit our website. Have a great week.